Welcome back to Apex Sci-Fi. Every hunter eventually finds themselves at the wrong end of a contract. In the galaxy, the hunter is only as good as his last capture, and Silas Vane had made too many powerful enemies. By leaking the names of the labor camps and defying the hegemony, Vane had painted a target on his own tattered cloak. The bounty for his head was now 500 million credits, dead or alive. Every rookie with a pistol and every veteran with a ship was looking for the man in the black glass mask. For 6 months, Silas Vane was the most hunted man in the stars. But those who tracked him found only empty campsites and ghost signals. Vane wasn't running. He was preparing. Because Silas Vane knew that as long as the contract existed, he would never be free. To end the hunt, he had to go to the source. He had to go to High Overseer Kalen, the man who sat at the top of the hegemony's judicial pyramid. This is Vane's reckoning. The Iron Vault is a prison moon orbiting a gas giant in the core systems. It is the most secure facility in the galaxy, guarded by thousands of automated turrets and a legion of elite soldiers. It was the one place Silas Vane could never break into. So he decided to be invited in. Vane surrendered to a group of low-level bounty hunters on a backwater trading post. He allowed them to put the neural shackles on his wrists. He allowed them to strip him of his weapons and his ship. He was taken to the Iron Vault in a high-security transport, his obsidian mask confiscated and placed in a separate containment unit. To the hegemony, Silas Vane was finally defeated. High Overseer Kalen was waiting in the interrogation suite at the top of the central spire. He was a man who lived for order, for control, and for the absolute power of the law. He watched through the reinforced glass as Vane was strapped into a chair, his hood pulled back to reveal only the back of his head. "You were a nuisance, Vane," Kalen's voice projected through the speakers. A ghost who thought he could change the tide of history. But even ghosts can be caught. Tomorrow you will be executed and the names you leaked will be forgotten. Order will be restored. Vane didn't move. He didn't speak. He just sat in the chair, his shoulders slumped as if in defeat. But Kalen had made the one mistake everyone made when dealing with Silas Vane. He assumed that Vane's tools were his weapons. He didn't realize that Vane's greatest weapon was his mind. Inside the containment room, Vane's obsidian mask began to glow. It wasn't just a piece of glass. It was a sophisticated computer node linked to the Vesper. Before he was captured, Vane had programmed his ship to orbit the moon in a stealth cycle. The moment the mask was brought inside the station's internal network, it acted as a Trojan horse. The lights in the Iron Vault flickered. The security droids in the interrogation room suddenly turned their heads, their sensors turning from blue to a hostile red. The locks on Vane's shackles hissed and snapped open. Vane stood up. He didn't rush for the door. He walked to the containment unit and reclaimed his mask. He slid the obsidian glass over his face, and the blue visor line ignited. Kalen watched in horror as his perfect security system began to dismantle itself. The station's internal gravity fluctuated. The doors to the cells opened. The Iron Vault was falling into chaos, and Silas Vane was the eye of the storm. Vane fought his way to the top of the spire. He didn't use a rifle. He used the station's own security droids, hacking them on the fly to act as his personal guard. He moved through the halls with the cold, mechanical grace of a man who had already won. He reached Kalen's office. The High Overseer was alone, holding a plasma pistol with shaking hands. He fired 3 times. Vane didn't dodge. He moved with the calculated efficiency of a predator, the bolts missing him by inches as he closed the distance. Vane grabbed the pistol, crushed it in his gloved hand, and slammed Kalen into his own high-back chair. Vane didn't draw a blade. He didn't wrap a wire around the man's throat. He reached into his belt and pulled out a small, glowing data chip. "What are you doing?" Kalen gasped, his face pale with terror. "You can't kill me. I am the hegemony. If I die, 1,000 men will take my place." "I'm not going to kill you, Kalen," Vane said, his voice a low, mechanical growl. "Death is a release. It's an end to the contract. And I want this contract to last forever." Vane inserted the chip into Kalen's terminal. "This is a digital wipe," Vane explained. "In 3 seconds, every record of your existence will be erased from the hegemony databases. Your bank accounts, your military record, your birth certificate, your biometric signatures. Even the facial recognition software in this building won't know who you are." "No." Kalen screamed, reaching for the terminal. "You can't." Vane held him back with one hand. "To the galaxy you will be a ghost. A man with no name, no credits, and no home. You will be just like the people you put in those labor camps. You will exist in the gray space." The screen flashed green. Data purge complete. Vane released Kalen. The High Overseer slumped into his chair, a man who had lost the only thing he valued, his status. He looked at Vane, his eyes wide and empty. "Who are you?" Kalen whispered. Vane adjusted his tattered hood, the blue light of his mask reflecting in the glass of the windows. "I'm the hunter you should have left in the dark," Vane said. Vane walked to the window and tapped his wrist computer. The Vesper emerged from the clouds of the gas giant, hovering just outside the glass. Vane smashed the window, the vacuum of the moon's thin atmosphere pulling at his cloak as he leaped into the air. He landed on the hull of his ship and disappeared into the stars. The iron vault was never the same. Kalen was found by his own guards, but they didn't recognize him. He was treated as an intruder, a nameless vagrant, and spent the rest of his life in the very cells he had built for others. Silas Vane is still out there. The bounty on his head was officially removed because the man who signed it no longer exists. He remains a ghost in the system, a man in a black mask and a tattered hood. He still takes contracts, but now he only takes the ones that matter. In the underworld of the galaxy, the legend of Silas Vane is no longer just about the hunt. It is about the reckoning. They say that if you do wrong in the dark, Vane will find you. They say he is the one who keeps the balance between the light and the shadow. Silas Vane is the last hunter. And the hunt never truly ends. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. Justice is a long walk, but Silas Vane knows the way. If you followed Vane's journey from the first signal to the final reckoning, hit that like button. Comment below. What was your favorite hunt in the Silas Vane saga? Subscribe for our next series, where we explore the legends of the human engineers who built the impossible. The Vesper is gone. The silence remains.